So, today we will discuss another method, X-ray diffraction method, that is powder method. Or it is called also Debye-Scharer method, Debye-Scharer method. Okay. So, earlier we have discussed about Lau method, where theta is constant, but lambda is variable. Then we have discussed about the rotating crystal method, where lambda is constant, monochromatic X-ray, but theta is variable. Now, in this powder method, here also this lambda is constant. In this method, lambda is constant, and theta is variable. Theta is variable. So, but there is a difference between these two methods, this powder method and the other one, rotating crystal method. In both cases, this theta is variable, lambda is monochromatic X-ray. Okay. So, what is the difference and what information we will get from this method? So, this information mainly the same. We want to know the crystal structure, we want to determine the crystal lattice parameter, right, and which type of lattice it is. So, but different method has different advantage. Okay. So, Lau method it's basically used to know the symmetry of the crystal. So, it is easy way to know that one, and this rotating crystal method is very helpful to know the unknown crystal. So, which type of crystal it is, so without knowing the details of lattice constant, etc. So, we can tell about the Brebis lattice of this crystal. So, but here this method, so let us see what we can know from this. So, here it is very convenient to get the lattice constant value. It is easily we can determine the lattice constant, okay, but that is not easy from the Lau method. From Lau method, it may not be that accurate determination of this lattice constant, and it is not also easy way to determine, but that is very convenient to know the symmetry of the crystal, whereas this method is not suitable for knowing the symmetry of the crystal, but very suitable for determining the lattice constant. Okay. So, different method, whatever three method we discussed, so they have own advantage. So, here experimental geometry we have to take in such a way the theta has to be variable, and lambda constant that we can choose from X-ray source. We can choose using filter, we can choose a particular lambda, generally copper or molybdenum K alpha is chosen because it has high intensity. X-ray will have the higher intensity if we choose K alpha X-ray. Okay. So, that is easy to choose, and now this again this crystal we have to, that X-ray will fall on the crystal, X-ray will fall on the crystal, right. Now, here So, now here crystal, in other two cases this we have used single crystal of small dimension, it is in millimeter dimension. Okay. So, in this case here the crystal we used in powder form, and I showed you that powder form means if we take salt, we eat salt, right. So, whatever the form of salt, this very small particles, so we tell this powder form of the crystal. So, even if it is single crystal, this bigger piece, so one can break it and make it this powder form, and then this crystal in powder form we take in a say tube. So, here we have our single crystal in powder form, right. So, now it is in powder form, then whatever X-ray is falling here. So, what is the angle, what will be the angle of say 111 plane. So, crystal, it is in powder form, but it has planes. So, so here if I just one particle, if I just draw in bigger form, so it will be say this one particle, right. So, here it has plane, it has all sorts of plane, right, it has also all sorts of planes. Okay. So, each particle have all planes, right, because a small particle, but it is in say it is size is in micrometer size. So, in micrometer size how many unit cell will be there. So, one can what is the dimension of unit cell? Dimension of unit cell is few angstrom, say even it is 5 angstrom, right, even it is 10 angstrom, say biggest one. So, in 1 micrometer how many unit cell will be there? 1 micrometer means 10 to the power 4, 10 to the 4 angstrom, right. 1 micrometer is equal to 10 to the power or 1000 nanometer, and 1 nanometer is 10 angstrom. So, it will be 10,000 angstrom, right. So, 1 unit cell if it is 10 angstrom, so you will have 1000 unit cell in this small particle if it is 1 micron size. Okay. So, it is each particle is a single crystal again. So, what I try to find out, say if I consider that 1 plane. So, in this particle these planes are there. Okay. So, now these planes, this particle will form, this X-ray will form angle with this 1 plane, right. What is this angle? That I do not know, because this particle here in which orientation it is sitting, that I do not know. Okay. So, but here thousands and thousands particles are there, right. So, with this in this plane, in this particle 1 plane form a particular angle, say 70 degree. Okay. So, in another plane, another particle, so that 1 plane, so it will form different angle, same plane it will form different angle. So, you can imagine that thousands and thousands particles are here, and each particle have 1 planes, right. So, they are randomly oriented here. So, you can expect that this angle between this X-ray and 111 plane here have all values, all values starting from 0 to 180 or 360 degree, 180 or 360 degree. Okay, it will have all angles. So it has continuous angle with 111 plane. Okay, similarly for any planes this will happen, because here this 111 plane with respect to that 100 plane. Okay, so there is no relative orientation. So they are oriented as a whole. Okay, so if this angle varies, this plane with this plane angle varies with this, so it will happen for all planes. Okay, so this is the technique used to vary the angle, incident angle of X-ray with different planes. So angle is varying basically continuously. It has all sorts of angle, and not is in orientation in one plane. It will have orientation in all sorts of plane or all sorts of direction, right? All sorts of direction it will have. So this plane will have angle, continuous variation of angle, not only in a plane, right? It will have in all direction. It will have in all direction. Theta variation will have all direction. So that is very important, because in rotating crystal method, there we have seen this this variation, this angle variation was so it depends on the orientation. So its orientation was only with respect to this one axis, right? So it was rotating. It was rotating. Okay. Okay. So whatever the angle variation was there, so that is, say, with respect in this plane, right? In this plane. So but automatically this other plane which was inclined with this plane, so automatically that will vary in the same way. But for this plane also it will vary on this horizontal plane. So here in that case because of this rotation, all the angle variation was horizontal on horizontal plane, but in different level for different axes. So here it is not that way. So here it is this angle variation with respect to this, it is not varying only this way, it is varying in all directions, okay. So whatever you can imagine is as if this in sphere, if you take a sphere from center, so this angle variation in all direction, okay. So that is important. So that will tell us this basically pattern of the diffraction. So that we will discuss. So now what will happen? So here this X-ray falling, so all sorts of angles are available for each plane. Now I have to, so diffraction will be in all direction, you know, and now this pattern will depend how you are placing your screen, how you are placing your detector, how you are placing your X-ray plate. So whatever the detecting system you are using, people use a different system, okay. So I will discuss in terms of photography plate. So here photography plate is placed, again it is in cylindrical form, but with small, its small width. So this type of photography plate is placed, okay. I think, let me so what I want to say, it is not cylindrical form, it is a circular form. It is on a circle, okay. It is on a circle, but this film has some width, okay. So film has some width. So that is what I want to mean. So I think if I represent this way, okay. Yeah. So, it has a it is in circular form, but it has small width. Okay. So, X-ray is falling. So, this the here on this film we generally keep hole, so that X-ray can enter and the falling on the sample. Now, direct X-ray is going, direct X-ray is going. Okay. Direct X-ray is going. Okay. So, here we can tell that this is a direct X-ray and this is the or forward X-ray, and this backward X-ray is that side. Okay. Reflecting backward and reflecting forward or incident direction. So, you will get this here one point here. So, here basically we keep one hole, here also we keep one hole. Okay. So, X-ray can go out where the X-ray is falling on this sample, it can go out. Now, what will happen if I okay. So, now think that so here X-ray is falling, say if you consider the 1 1 1 plane. So, it is so 1 1 1 plane are in all directions, on all directions is oriented in all directions, right. So, that is the experimental geometry. Now, 2d sin theta equal to n lambda, 2d sin theta equal to n lambda. So, n we take first order, so it is 1. So, here so 1 1 1 plane, if I am considering 1 1 1 plane. Okay. So, now this angle is variable, lambda is constant. So, angle I will get, because angle are available, all sorts of angle are available with this 1 1 plane. So, I will get easily one angle which will satisfy the this condition. So, we will get reflection in that direction. Reflection will be in many directions, but we will consider those reflections which will give us the constructive interference, will give the highest intensity, right. So, so now if that is the reflected one, if that is the reflected one, if say that is the reflected one from 1 1 1 plane, right. So, what will happen? So, this is the incident X-ray, right. Now, I have plane. So, with some plane, so so this way, or I pay with some plane, what will happen? So, this say 1 1 1 plane. So, it will satisfy this condition for angle theta. So, I will get reflected one. So, I will get reflected one, right. Now, these planes have all sorts of orientation, right. So, keeping this angle theta, I will have different orientation of these planes. I will have different orientation of these planes, right, keeping this angle theta. So, basically that forms cone. So, here because this angle is continuously variable, right, for the same plane. So, I will get this diffraction or reflection, this all the along the surface of it is not discontinuous, continuously on the surface all lines will be the reflected lines which will give this constructive interference, okay, this all direction on a cone, okay. So here, so along the cone, so this is a solid cone, this is a cone, this surface on the surface of these cones all are allowed, all reflections are allowed, okay. It will form diffraction, it will give diffraction, okay, constructive diffraction. And so if I put a screen here, so what I will see? I will see a circle. So this circle will represent, if I put a screen here, plate here, I will see a circle. This circle is basically for 111 plane, right. Similarly for other, say 100 plane, okay. So it will have the same way, it has all sorts of angle, so it will give another circle. So it will form another cone, it will form another cone, it will form another cone. So this each cone will have it will represent a particular planes, right. So on the screen, whatever I will get, says if I put the screen this way, I will get concentric circle, I will get concentric circle. So each circle for each plane. Similarly backwards, in backwards also we will get similar as for love spot I have shown you. So here also it will form cone, right, it will form cone, right. So this also for same plane. So now if I put photographic plate this way, if I put photographic plate say here, I can extend it. So how I have put photographic plate? Okay. So here what will happen? So it has some width, right? It has some width, it has some width. Okay. So this photographic plate on this, basically what I will get? So I will get this, you see, so if it is bigger one, I will get circle on this, but if it is width is smaller, so I will get just with respect to this both sides some arc. So basically on photographic plate, if I just this, now it was in circular form, now if I make it straight, so here basically one hole, and on photographic plate here basically another hole, okay. So this, so here with respect to hole, so these are circulars are there. So this, right. So these circles are there. So basically on photographic plate, what you will see, because here photographic plate is not there, X-ray plate is not there. So basically what you will see, so this type of pattern you will see on the photographic plate, okay. So if you know, so from here one can easily find out this D. So to find out D, one has to know angle theta, right, one has to know angle theta. So here here imagine that. So, this is the incident direction and this is the for this circle. So, this is the reflected direction, right. So, angle between these two, if incident angle, gazing incident angle is theta, so angle between the incident and reflected rays, it is 2 theta. So, it is 2 theta, right. So, this also will be 2 theta. So, this total is 4 theta, right. So, this 4 theta. Now, this one here, whatever part we are getting, okay. So, from this center here, okay, from this center, yeah. So, this will basically here whatever you said, this arc, right, arc. So, and this will be the radius, this is arc. So, now if it is theta and this if this is r, because it is circle and this distance. So, I think this radius of circle is to find out the arc, what you do. So, you have a circle, I can see circle, right. So, from center, if it is angle theta, if it is radius r, what is this arc? Arc is basically r theta, arc is basically r theta, right, r theta. I think here I can write this r theta, right. So, this equal to, if I write s, so this arc if it is s, okay, and this radius if it is r. So, from here this whatever this you can find out the relation that r 4 theta, r into 4 theta, it will be s, okay. So, this r and this s you will find out this from geometry, basically one has to find out, okay, because what is the distance of your film, that you have to know, and radius you can measure from here, okay. So, so from here you will get the theta value. So, that is basically s by 4r, okay, s by 4r. So, you will find out from this experiment theta, if you find out theta, then you can, lambda is known to you, so you will find out d. So, if d is known, you know the lattice constant. If it is cubic crystal, one can find out lattice constant A, okay. So, this way this method is quite simple and very useful, and it is frequently used in laboratory. So, here in terms of film I told, but nowadays film is not used, it is we are using different geometry, we are using detector to detect this intensity. So, detector now, here detector is moved in this direction, you know, detector is moved in this direction. So, it is not, we are, so detector will not see the intensity as on the circle. So, detector will move in this direction, so it will see diffraction spot here, means intensity here, then it will see here, right. So, this is the half of this, generally we do not scan full. So, basically detector when move, so this will give a, so on this circle it is same, this all points are same for a one plane. So, this detector will that intensity will find out. So, this for a, it will represent a plane. So, we tell this, basically we tell this Bragg peak, high intensity we will see, then for next one we will see this next Bragg peak. So, this will correspond for different planes, and detector when it is moving, so it will find will get this diffraction peak at different angle. So, that one has to note down, one has to calibrate and note down this angle variation. So, then what is that angle, this peak has found at which angle? So, experimentally we will know. So, if you know, then which plane it is, from here we can find out. Okay. So, we will get different peaks, and from there we will get that each peak corresponds to different planes. Okay. But lattice constant is same, whether planes are different, their spacing are different, but for that crystal lattice constant are same, right. So, taking different peaks, one can find out the lattice constant as I mentioned earlier, but one has to know HKL value also. One has to know HKL value also, right. So, this HKL value, how to know? For that we need more diffraction peaks. So, from that diffraction peak, but as I told, it will represent this, it is for a particular crystal, and it has only particular lattice constant. Miller indices will be different. So, if we have few number of peaks, and then for same lattice constant, say if it is cubic A, then one can find out the Miller indices of this each plane, and ultimately we will find out the lattice constant. Okay. So, we will stop here. So, we will continue in next class. Thank you for your attention.